Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 191. It's not June 23rd, though it is June 29th, as I think Paul so astutely pointed out. I didn't change the date on the header. I'm bad host. And I'm such a bad host that my co-host, once again, is not here. He's just sick to death of me. Doesn't even want to be on the show with me anymore. Luckily, I have three amazing panelists here to bolster my actually give me some credibility and help me wrestle with the week's news. So let's introduce them and get into it. The man with the... you know what? I'm not even going there. He's our man from the Waterloo Region Voltec Group, our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from Canada, where the three amigos are meeting earlier today in Ottawa. So the leadership of North America is in Ottawa, Canada today.
Is that Martin Short, Steve
Martin, yeah.
And Chevy Chase, right?
Chevy Chase just isn't funny anymore. I'm sorry. Does that mean to say he's not Canadian, is he?
Chevy's not, no.
No. Martin Short is, of course.
Martin is. Yeah.
But we just don't really care about that. What we do care about is our friend in Chicago, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago, and I've chose to spend the beautiful evening here with three of my friends doing a podcast. So how awesome is that?
Wow. And I actually have not one but two. Paul Guzik's with us.
Yeah, my connection dropped and I came back and
it's funny, you're just like frozen there forever, for eternity. And it's a nice smile though, Paul.
Yeah.
That is quite a trick.
Yeah, I don't even know how that works.
yeah.
But let's introduce our man from Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey everybody, and tonight I'm drinking a wheat beer with cherries and black currants. It's not actually that great.
Not as good as it sounds?
No, but it was
too bad.
in the fridge and it was cold, so it will do.
That's a shame, because that sounds really amazing.
Yeah, it's don't judge a beer by the label, I guess.
That's probably good advice. And with that advice, let's go into the news for this week, shall we? I think we shall. I'm actually going to set up my screen like it actually makes a difference. Our first story this week is actually not a story. Our friends at Toyota were nice enough to loan me a 4G Prius. So there's a 4G Prius sitting outside my house right now, and has been since Tuesday morning. And what's odd about this, for the first time in 14 years, what's really, really odd is that this is, well, no, it's actually been 11 or 12, excuse me. For the last year, I haven't driven a Prius. Not once, not even by mistake. And previous to this, I've had a series of Priuses that I drove exclusively or every day. So it's weird in that I've been driving a gas car for the last year, and just jumped into this new 4G Prius, and it's I'm surprised at how much I missed it. And in a couple of weeks, we'll have a more final report. I just wanted to shout out to Toyota for sending
Were the cops chasing you the whole time?
It's so funny. The lovely and talented Mrs. Frost actually suggested that maybe I go to a bank as a funny ha-ha. And I thought...
Is it a red Prius?
It's adult diaper green. It's not... It's... there seems to be some confusion over the color. Some of the paperwork that came with the vehicles calls it Arctic Frost Pearl, which you would think... where, there we go. Given the name, right? Mm-hmm. I would be all about it. It's not my favorite color. But our friend John, the president of Canada, who knows a lot about these things, claims that it's sea glass pearl.
He claims that regardless of the paperwork, there is no such thing as Arctic Frost Pearl.
that may have been. Was that part of his claim?
You don't, you
Yeah,
don't
I
have
think that
to-
was part of his claim. That's no such paint color. So where they came up with those random letters in that order, no one really knows.
I'm looking.
Do you
for
have
the
do you have the VIN? I can look it up on Toyota Tech Info and see what the actual name is.
I think Russell got it right when he called it adult diaper green.
That's
Pistachio
horrible.
green.
That's a marketing term, though.
It's not my it's not my favorite color. Let's put it that way. So I guess I don't want to be mean to Toyota here. So let's see what else. While I'm typing this VIN number that I'm not going to
Don't read
say,
it. Just type it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna type this VIN because
Just-
What?
Does it begin with JT?
It begins with JT.
That means it was built in Japan.
Wow,
Paul.
profound.
The VINs that begin with a number, for those who want to know, are built in North America.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Began with a 1 or a 5. It's a North American-made car.
All right, who wants to guess how many Prius so far have been built outside of Japan?
Probably 0.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the answer to
Camrys
that
are built in
question
North
is
America.
0. That's correct. Camry hybrid is, but not Prius. There you go, Paul. It's in the comments. You can cut and
Okay.
paste it and let us know. So anyway, so what else? I'm surprised at how much I miss driving a Prius. And otherwise, all of my early comments, let me just summarize. All of my early feelings are very positive. I really like this car. It gets really amazing mileage even when you drive it like crap, like intentionally drive it like crap.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm at 57 mpg, and I mean I've been driving it like crap. I mean powering into corners and stuff and trying to kind of play with the suspension a little bit. It does feel a little tighter. Other than the interior is beige, it's the beige and black combo,
Ooh.
which I really hate. I don't even know why they make the beige.
Yeah, so here's the official Toyota names of the colors.
Yes, sir.
Outside is called Sea Glass Pearl.
It is Sea Glass Pearl. Thank
Yeah,
you.
That's the official name.
Mm-hmm.
And this it does not appeal to anybody. The interior colors is called Harvest Beige.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It
like
is
any
Harvest
kind of beige is awful, but Harvest Beige.
If you could see this tag, which I'm going to keep moving because I don't really want to put the VIN number on there, but the tag actually says Arctic Frost Pearl.
Yeah, it's Sea Glass Pearl.
Yeah,
They just added the frost for you.
It was a
I
typo.
know, that was it. They were
It's a custom
pandering.
tag, yes.
They were pandering. I was going to see my name in there and go, oh, thumbs up, yeah.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful car. I have the advanced tech version, so it's got all the bells and whistles.
Oh, nice.
Which
Yeah.
really appeals to me. I'm looking forward to getting out in the freeway and playing with the dynamic cruise and the lane keep assist.
Pedestrian detection, lane departure assist, steering assist,
Yeah.
dynamic radar cruise control, automatic high beams.
Now, when it has pedestrian detection, does like a screen come up and show you where the pedestrians are so that you can
it just says,
aim
hey,
at them?
you are going to hit a pedestrian.
Little
one.
targets appear on your
There
windshield.
once.
You're about
20 points.
you're about to commit negligent homicide or something. Yeah.
How big is the heads-up display?
I got to tell you, the star of this show when you first get in is the heads up. The HUD is amazing. It's about that big.
And it says it's in color.
It's in full color and it's
Cool.
gorgeous. Even
Really?
on the screen, it is bright and it is crisp. It is amazing. The last vehicle I was in that had a heads-up display was a Lexus a few years ago, and that was like crayons and an Etch-a-Sketch compared to this. They run the nav through it. It's interesting. Whenever you turn onto a new street or the speed limit change, a little speed limit sign pops up
Right.
and tells you what the speed limit is, which is actually very useful.
Because Garmin and TomTom have been doing that for about 8 years.
Right.
He didn't say it was new tech. He just said it was cool.
Yeah.
It's,
New
yeah.
for a Prius.
So while I gush about the HUD, right? I mean, the HUD is amazing. The nav is basically the same nav I had in my 2005 Prius. And when I say basically the same, I mean I think it's running off the same disk.
Oh, wow.
It's awful. It's terrible. I don't understand how they can get so many things right and just completely just screw up the nav.
Well, they just
And
decided that
and
no
it has
one's going to
great
use it anyway.
iPhone integration, Russell, or smartphone integration.
Are you poking fun at me? You know what? Okay, so the good part, it pairs really quickly, much quicker than any other Toyota I've been in. I mean, really very smoothly, very easily. It's every bit as glitchy and weird as any other Bluetooth connection I've ever been in any Toyota. When you come back in the car, it pulls some random bit of stuff off the phone to play, not what you were playing last. Maybe sometimes it does. It's kind of weird. I haven't. I'm going to play with it a little more and kind of try and get into sunlight. So I'm done rambling about this. Other than, well, I guess questions. I shouldn't be so stingy. Do you guys have anything you're curious about? Anything I should look for?
How does it handle when you're on two wheels?
Quite well. Honestly, I didn't think those Bridgestone Ecopia tires could take it, but they do very well. Yeah.
What about the Jim Rockford turns? Where you?
You know, it's supposed to rain here every afternoon for the next few days, and I'm hoping I've got a couple of parking lots scoped out, and I'm hoping to do a little drifting.
I don't know. On the commercial, they do it in dry streets in Chicago. So.
With special tires, yeah.
They oiled up the tires.
No, they have drifting tires on that car. Tony, have we seen these drifting tires?
Yes, I know. Yes.
They have special drifting slicks on the back of that car.
And the 2016 Prius is the first Prius in which you can disable the whatever
traction control.
Yeah, the stupid traction control. The STC, I think, is the official term.
It's track, isn't it?
Stupid traction control.
Oh,
the STC.
The stupid traction control. Yes, the STC.
So you can actually drift the Prius now.
Ah. Cool.
And Russell, if you do decide to rob a bank, I just thought I'd let you know that the police now do have a Prius as well, so you're not going to get away.
Yeah, they might catch you now.
Just my luck. Yeah, I won't be the hero of national television. Go figure. No, I'll just be a dead guy in a Prius. Okay.
I was going to say, if you can rob a bank in Florida and not get shot by three people.
Yeah.
Suicide by cop, they call that.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. Because a corpse in a Prius smells just as bad as one in a Lamborghini. Or maybe vice versa. I'm not really sure. Let's talk about some real news. Speaking of real news, I talked about this in the Prius owners group, so forgive me for flogging one of my own stories. But they sort of sent up Toyota sort of sent up some trial balloons about, well, maybe electricity isn't so bad. And at this point, but this is back when I first reported this on June 17th, there was just some rumor that someone at Toyota had said that the first Prius plug-in was a failure and that this one wasn't going to be. Later on, we learned that it was Koji Toyoshima, the chief engineer for Prius right now, who actually said that he considered the first-generation plug-in a failure. And I think that's a pretty reasonable and objective thing to say about
So if the plug-in Prius was a failure, what's the Mirai?
Work in progress.
Yeah. Whittled one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Mirai is.
Yes. But it is. I do think it is pretty bold for a chief engineer to say that.
See, I think that's actually one of the more interesting things here is that people in Toyota are very good about keeping on message. And, this is Toyoshima-san kind of going off of message and offering a negative opinion of a previous product. Of course, it's to contrast the newer product and how much better it is and kind of deflect from the criticism that the new product doesn't really compete with other competitors' current products that are similar. So I get that, but it's criticism about a former Toyota product, and that's unusual. In my experience, it is.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, and the reason I brought this up was just so that I could do this one little thing. I want to poll you guys and tell me. So, do you think Toyota is going to head in a more electric direction, or do you think this is just kind of chatter around the Prius Prime?
Well, I'll start and say that I think that Toyota has it well within their capabilities to come out with an electric vehicle. They have more than a decade of battery tech and stuff that they've been messing around with. I mean, we know they've been doing battery chemistry and stuff behind the scenes. I think they easily could, but it becomes a question of would they? And I think all the other manufacturers are pressing their hands. So I think they either are going to, or as we've said several times, they're going to be so far behind everyone else that it's going to be almost unable to catch up.
Or they're just like me too, because of Tesla getting 400,000 pre-orders,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to maybe say to the people, "Hey, we're doing something cool." So, and maybe by the time Tesla ships, they'll have a product. But I'll believe it when I see it.
So you two have both dodged the question.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
I'm going to say they're not going to do it. And the only reason I say that is just because there's been a lot of muddy water about what they're really interested in and what they say they're going to do, and it just seems to be all over the board. So
Yeah.
I just think this is PR.
I honestly think they will. Okay, here's the caveat, though. There's always a caveat. I think they will come out with an electric vehicle. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be just like the RAV4 EV. They're going to make some, and they're going to say, "Look, we have an electric vehicle," and then they're going to just stop making it, or they're not going to sell it. They're only going to do the carb states or something, which honestly really bums me out. But I think, so that's a yes and no, and I guess what I'm saying is I think they'll do it, but I don't think they're going to come out with this mass-produced electric car for everyone. I think they're going to do a small batch electric car so that they can get the zero carbon credits and get the compliance, and then they're just going to focus on their hybrids and God help us hydrogen.
And their Tundras.
Yeah, and their Tundras. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you, Tony, and I'm going to agree with Mark. I think this is just misdirection. I don't until I see. I love my friends at Toyota. Love a lot of their cars. It's all I've driven for the last 15 years. But I've been very disappointed with their lack of leadership in electric vehicles, and by that I don't need to parse whether the Mirai is an electric vehicle or whether the Prime. I'm talking about a battery electric vehicle. Okay, no hydrogen, no gas, battery electric vehicle. I've been very disappointed in their lack of leadership there, and until they actually start doing something that looks like leadership again, I'm going to continue to be disappointed because I know they can do it, and I know they can make a good one. And it's a shame for us, the buying public who buys these things, that we don't have a choice from Toyota. Because the Mirai is not a choice.
Right.
It's a marketing angle.
When you look at the TNGA, did I get that right? TNGA. When you look at the global platform that they are committed to use,
yes,
when you really look at the frame and the way it's set up, you can tell that it is designed for an internal combustion engine up front, maybe some battery storage. But it certainly is not designed for, for example, skateboard batteries.
Right.
It's not an EV frame. So they would have to completely go against using that shared platform if they were going to go in a mass market electric vehicle.
I honestly am not qualified to judge that, but I think that's an interesting observation, Tony. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Tony, why don't you take us away with the next little bit of Toyota news?
Oh, well, so this came out today. Apparently, Toyota is recalling 1.43 million vehicles globally. Now, you've all heard by now about the Takata airbags. The good news is they do, inflate when there's an accident. The bad news is they add to the accident by shooting shards of metal at you.
I can't imagine how
So
that's
it is a good news, bad news story.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So if you're lucky enough to
sides do it.
survive the shrapnel, the airbags will save your life. Now, the interesting part is that Toyota announced today that they are recalling for defective airbags. What's interesting is this recall has nothing to do with the Takata airbag recalls.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting, I think. Now, to be clear, they haven't received any reports of injuries or fatalities from the airbags, but they're saying that 932,000 vehicles globally are affected. And with the airbag, there's two recalls. I'm starting with the airbag one. Defective airbag are in the Prius plug-ins, and the Lexus CT200H, but only the ones produced between October 2008 and April of 2012. And that includes almost 500,000 vehicles in North America.
Wow.
And
Any other models in North America than the Prius?
not for the airbags.
Wow.
But then they have another recall that they've announced at the same time that affects Prius, RS, Corolla, Zelas, Lucas, and Lexus HS250H and CT200H. Now, a lot of those names are kind of weird because it affects vehicles in Japan, Europe, China, and elsewhere, but no cars in the North America. And that recall has to do with emission controls because some coating can crack and possibly cause some fuel leaks. So don't worry about the emissions here in the U.S., but if you have a Prius, a plug-in, or a CT200H produced between October 2008 or April 2012, expect a letter in the mail, or you can go to your dealer. But wait for the letter because I've heard so many stories of people who are proactive and they go to the dealership and the dealership says, we have no idea what you're talking about, but for $35 we'll change your oil.
Right. And you need a front end alignment, and those are only $149.
Right. So wait until you have the letter in hand, take it to your dealership, and get your airbag swapped out as quickly as you can because you don't want a faulty airbag.
But yeah, I think they're rolling it out in stages, so they'll send out 50,000 letters and make sure they have parts. And so if you own one of those cars, it might take months or a year before you get the letter. So
just drive very slowly and very cautiously.
Yeah, that Kevlar face mask you were thinking about? Maybe put that one on the next Amazon Prime order. I got nothing else other than that.
That's the public service announcement for the show right there.
That's it. Yeah, do wait. Toyota always notifies owners by first-class mail, so it's not like give it some time.
And they're pretty good with linking up with the DMV. If a car changes ownership, they somehow get your address from the local DMV. So.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How do they do that?
I guess they share it. The DMV shares it with the manufacturers.
For like $5 a title. Man,
I have cars that Toyota doesn't know I own, or I thought they didn't know I own, but they're registered at the DMV, and somehow I get these recall letters. So.
Oh, they're watching you, Paul. Trust me.
Yeah, you are definitely.
I got trackers in all my Priuses.
Yeah, exactly. They got cameras in your shop. Are you kidding me? I mean, they want to know what you're up to.
That's where his show feed is coming from.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, what's he ordering from China this week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, diagnostic equipment. I get that. And it is. Paul does get fine diagnostic equipment from another country where perhaps the regulations are a little bit different and allow independent.
Well, I didn't say I buy it. I'm aware of it.
Yeah, you're aware of it.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Exactly. We are aware of all internet traditions. Well, speaking of internet traditions, I'm going to hand the news torch over to Mark.
Okay. Kind of an interesting story here. A little bit of a different spin on EVs. Los Angeles has been spending the past number of years replacing 45,000 miles of street lamps to LEDs. Talk about a boring job. But what's kind of interesting is that they're spending $57 million to make this change to LED lighting. They're about finished now, and interestingly enough, the savings turn out to be about $9 million a year in energy savings. So that's a pretty not a bad turnaround for a payback for the $57 million expenditure. But the story here is about taking that surplus energy that they're saving now with LED bulbs, and now they're going to set up charging for EVs. They have indicated they're going to put about 100 different charge stations and place them at different points into the downtown area to start with. They're going to start with 30 in the downtown area. Right now they've installed 3, so 27 more are going to be installed before the end of the year, and they believe that they're going to have a total of 100 running a year after that. So kind of neat that you're taking this energy savings from street lights only and being able to plug cars into it at any point.
And do they say if these charging stations are free or?
There's no indication as to whether or not they're free or not.
Okay.
Nor does it talk about specific types of chargers, although they do indicate that charge point is one of the options. But I don't think that they've gotten into the details of if it is a charge point or not, or what the actual price will be, if there is a price.
That is a great that's a great story. That they're saving money on the lights, and the company I work for, one of the things that we do, the company is the municipalities and electrical evaluations and things, and I can tell you that swapping out a lot of those old lights, especially like those old mercury lights things, swapping those out with LEDs, a municipality can save just millions and millions of dollars just doing that, just on lighting.
Yeah, like I'm surprised with those numbers. $57 million expenditure and $9 million a year in energy savings. Every municipality should be all over that type of program.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in theory, the LED lifespan is way more than any other lighting technology.
Well, and there's that too. And when they do the payback period, most people only look at the amount of electricity being used and completely forget the materials and the labor of constantly swapping burned out incandescent light bulbs.
Just a quick poll. Do you guys in your local areas, do you see municipal lighting with LEDs?
Wow.
I do.
Yeah, I do. I literally do, yeah.
I'm sorry. We're Colorado, Illinois. We still have those people that go around the lamplighters. One thing, and forgive me because I'm a native Angelino, and I get a little defensive sometimes because a lot of people, sometimes rightly, criticize Los Angeles. But just like building the train through to Santa Monica this year, just like changing all these lights off, a lot of LA doesn't get the credit for doing a lot of really boring, tedious yeoman's work to make really cool things happen for their citizens. So props to LA. What was the question?
The question was,
do you see LEDs in your local area?
Oh, yeah. No.
The question was, does the town crier yell out the news while he's lighting your lamps?
You mean the village idiot, the one that sits on the wall and reads the one sheet that gets published every day at 3?
No, that's your governor.
Yeah. No, that's Lex Luthor. He's busy foiling Superman and stealing all the money. No, I don't see anything like that happening here. To be honest.
Oh,
I just noticed in our area that they're starting to replace them. So as a project happens and they have to replace a number of different street light, they are now going LED.
Yeah. And you have to keep in mind, Florida's a place that doesn't even really have sidewalks. Seriously, like, just, because it's all weird suburban sprawl kind of thing. So
yeah. LED, I'll tell you, LED streetlights and the new implementation of them is great because they're essentially just like flat panel with LEDs underneath shining down, and they can really sort of pinpoint direct them, and they really do reduce the amount of light pollution and the light halo effect. In addition to all the energy savings and lifespan and everything.
And they can also make it a more white light than a yellow traditional street light.
Yeah, and they can really bring in a better spectrum. And so I mean, again, like Mark said, it's almost shocking when you hear about municipalities that are not doing this, because the earlier you get in on this, the more money you're going to save in the long run.
Well, but the other issue is the cost of the technology is going to drop every year.
Okay.
So when do you pull the trigger? Because 5 years from now, the cost of switching your lights might be half as much. But how much are you going to spend in energy before? So
right. How much?
The bean counters have a fun task trying to figure out when.
LA would have lost $45 million in 5 years.
Right. And they put city people to work doing this project, saving. I mean, we're talking jobs. I mean, this is one of those things that we should be aggressively pursuing everywhere.
Yeah, but you're right, Russell. It is one of those behind-the-scenes grunt work things that you don't get a lot of credit for doing it. Or even if somebody reads it in the paper, they're just like, "Oh, great, you swapped out the streetlights. Big whoop. What's next?" Right. But it's a big deal. It's a great thing.
And to that statement, everybody should be doing LED lights. I mean, you can buy LED bulbs at Home Depot for $3 now that replace incandescent bulbs. So, they used to be a lot more, but homeowners can switch over.
So everybody buy an LED light. Go out to your street lamp.
No, do it in your own house.
Get a ladder.
Yeah, get a big ladder. Get a bucket truck.
But the guys on What Drives Us told me to climb the street pole and change the light bulb. I don't understand.
No, this was just a hypothetical solution.
Wait. It's the What Drives Us attorney. Do not climb a light pole. Do not climb a light pole. Under no circumstances, change your street light. Thank you, by the way, for that.
Damn lawyers.
I know.
Always ruining our fun.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of ruining fun, Paul, I bet you have a news story.
Well, speaking of lawyers, and Russell, I don't know if you want to put up the link or the...
I will be happy to. Absolutely.
So, Volkswagen sort of possibly agrees to pay drivers for their spewing diesels. And the latest is 482,000 vehicles are affected, and they will pay owners between $1,000 and $7,000 per vehicle, or fix the vehicles free of charge, as they say, to keep them from spewing 40 times the legal limit of harmful nitrogen oxides. It's a $10.2 billion pile of money, and about 3/4 will go to car owners, the rest to government officials as bribes or fines. So I guess if anybody has a diesel VW that's affected, it'd be nice to hear how much of a check they actually get from VW.
Can I just
imagine a lot more $1,000 checks than $7,000 checks being printed.
Aside from the way VW owners are getting screwed here, can I just say how nice it is that Shell has chosen to advertise their fossil fuel on this story? Right there to the immediate right of the Volkswagen logo, there's a Shell banner ad. I mean, way to go, Royal Dutch Shell.
Yes.
That's aggressive. So, Paul, do you have any clue, like, again, because you deal with so many cars and used cars and whatnot, I mean, between $1,000 and $7,000 per, is this even, like, anywhere in the range of what these people are going to get hosed for?
It depends. I think most people probably got hosed closer to $5,000 to $7,000 on the value of their car, because there's no one wants a VW diesel right now, and I don't know. I guess I don't own an affected car. I mean, I'm into old 80s VWs. It's, traditionally the Vanagon, which is actually the last cool vehicle VW ever made. But
Sure.
I guess it'd be interesting to hear from people who own these diesels what they're getting and what they've seen in the market as far as trying to trade in their car or sell their car. But I think just no one wants to touch those things.
So, is it the next business opportunity, like buying up used Volkswagens cheap and doing something with them?
Well, I think what's going to happen is people are going to buy them in the developed countries and sell them, buy them cheap in North America or whatever, Europe, and sell them to Africa, where
that's just great.
where they don't care about emissions and they want cars that they can afford or something like that. So
we have open markets with Cuba now.
Yeah, sell them to Cuba.
They need some new cars in Cuba, I'll tell you what.
And they certainly do need Volkswagen diesels.
Right.
I mean, of all the things Cuba needs.
Hey, BP has been sending them oil for years.
Yeah. I mean, but is there really can you actually buy a container load of or send a container load of Volkswagens to the Sudan or something and make money on it?
Yeah.
Really?
Probably could.
There are guys that come around businesses in North America and buy bald tires, okay? And I've seen this. Tires that are so completely bald they are unsafe and illegal and just garbage. And as long as they hold air, they fill containers and send them to Africa. Because if you live in Africa, you'll take any tire that will hold air. And there's a business case there that they can make money doing it. I don't know how, but they do it.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean,
that business case sounds like the episode of Seinfeld where they're trying to figure out how to drive all the bottles from New York to Maine because they can get
the
more
5 cents.
to get the extra 5 cents. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess here people have to pay to dispose of tires. So maybe they say, well, you pay us and we'll take them away, and then they can sell them for $2, and you can fit 80,000 in a shipping container, and the cost to ship a container to Africa is X, and at the other end, I don't know. Somehow, someone's figured out how to make money doing it.
Wow. All right. Well,
does anybody think this is a win for Volkswagen owners?
I don't think we can get a win. I think
it's going to take years for them to get out from under this.
Mm-hmm. But okay, so we have to ask: does it seem to have a bigger impact on the U.S.? Because I do look around on international websites and stuff, and I honestly don't see as much Volkswagen the backlash as I see here in the States.
Right.
So is it just an impression that we have that Volkswagen screwed because they did this? I'm just not seeing it internationally.
Certainly in Europe and especially Germany, they're the local team, right? They have a lot of happy customers and they'll always buy VWs. So.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, to be clear, they violated our EPA.
Right.
The U.S. EPA. They didn't, violate Turkey's or Greece or Spain. It was here. So we are upset because they violated the regulations put forth by our government. But other countries, they're not impacted by our government's regulations.
Right.
So this isn't a big deal as much to other countries.
Well, you do see that a lot of the European nations it seems to be going electric a lot more quickly now. I don't know if that's my imagination, but I see a lot more stories about European countries picking up the pace with electric vehicles since the VW scandal.
But I think that was on a trajectory before the VW scandal, and it just went down.
That was, and I remember a couple of years ago reading an article. England had been sold on diesel based on false information and outright lies, where people had said, "Oh no, diesel is a lot cleaner than gasoline, and you really need to go with diesel." And now here we are, many years later, and you have higher rates of respiratory diseases and all of this stuff. And so I think England was already getting ready to kick diesel out
Right.
and go more electric. And I think maybe this did spur them on.
Yeah,
But
and I believe Paris caught on, or France caught on just a year ago.
Yeah.
Because I remember
Yeah.
seeing that story as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here in the United States, Tony, someone we know, you and I both personally know this person, who is a well-known fuel efficiency guru, who has been pumping a major fossil fuel company and their diesel products
hmm
as superior, as better, as cleaner. I mean, there's no bottom to this barrel. None.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, the emissions is one thing, but definitely diesel has more energy per kilogram or whatever than a gasoline-powered vehicle.
Right.
But and that's why truckers all run diesel, because to run gas would be a lot more expensive. But what's coming out of the tailpipe or the smokestack is the scary stuff.
Yeah, I've never argued with anybody who told me that a TDI isn't fun to drive.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it is. I have no doubt in my mind that it's more fun than whatever, fill in your favorite fuel efficient vehicle, but it's not cleaner.
Right.
By
Right.
any rational estimation. It never has been.
It's all in what you measure, and that's what it comes down to. If you want to lose 15 pounds, I can help you lose 15 pounds overnight. I just need to know which arm to cut off. Are you right? Because if all you're focused on is the scale, and you want to say I lost 15 pounds, I can help you lose 15 pounds.
Yeah.
See, and so if all we're going to do is say the diesel is great because it has more low-end torque, okay, great. But if that's all you're going to measure, then it's going to win every time. But if you look at the emissions and the fine particulates, then you don't want to go there. And that's why arguing with diesel fanatics is so difficult, because they will focus exclusively on what's so great about diesel, and then you bring up the particulate matter, and then they go back to why it's so much fun to drive a diesel.
Right, exactly. It's a constantly shifting debate.
Yeah.
Because they like to roll coal.
Right.
Well, speaking of shifting the debate, Tony, why don't you finish us up with an interesting story?
Yeah, I thought this was great. I was seeing this come across my feed the last couple of days. So one of the great things about owning an electric vehicle is that you get to drive past the gas station and either blow them raspberries or flip them off. Your choice. Who am I to judge? Well,
I personally do both.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, right there with you, man.
Nice.
So, how cool is it, to drive past a gas station in your brand new Tesla? Well, now you don't have to, because Tesla has been talking to Sheetz gas stations about installing superchargers in the gas stations at Sheetz locations.
And where is Sheetz gas station? What states are they in?
Northeast.
Is it Northeast?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I didn't.
They're
even know.
based out of
never heard of
PA,
them.
believe it or not.
Okay.
They're based out of Pennsylvania.
So it turns out that Sheetz already has a charging infrastructure. Well, I don't know if I'm going to call it an infrastructure because it's just electricity. But they already have a charging, let's call it precedent, at their gas stations. Now, what Tesla's going to have to do is beef it up so they can get to the 170 miles of range in 30 minutes, thing that Tesla does at their superchargers. But basically, they are locating superchargers at existing gas stations, which is kind of cool because it's an existing structure, and that means that Tesla doesn't have to buy land. It doesn't have to dedicate space for a supercharger. They can just put it in a parking lot at an existing station.
Can I say the obvious thing here?
I think so. If it's
'Cause
obvious, you don't need to say it.
No. But it is my job to point out the obvious on this show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, obviously, the big thing here for Tesla is that Sheetz is a gas station and a convenience station chain, and they've spent a lot of money and a lot of time investing in real estate that, guess what, is really super convenient to people who drive automobiles. So what Tesla's doing here is co-opting really good locations. That's the main thing. This isn't, I mean, yeah, it's about whatever. They can go in and get a wrap and get a soda or whatever they're going to do. And Sheetz has, the new upscale Sheetz are kind of cool. They're spiffy. They have pendulum lights and whatnot, or pendant lights. But, I mean, again, the main thing is these people own a ton of real estate on busy roads, on busy highways, that are well signed, that have big parking lots, and that are perfect to tuck in a little 4 or 6 station supercharger. So hey, cheers to Tesla for thinking about the obvious.
And cheers to Sheetz for jumping on the Tesla bandwagon. I mean, when you think about it, it's a good train to be on.
There's certainly a competition now in upscaling that whole convenience store, gas station kind of thing. If you guys have Wawa, does anybody have Wawa too? That's another Pennsylvania thing.
No.
But they actually, I mean, Wawa's all over the East. But the same thing, and they build these really upscale with like delis and smoothie stations, and a lot of freshly made food there, as well as all the other convenience store stuff. And again, they build very spiffy looking buildings, very nice, with big parking lots on all 3 sides of the building that could easily accommodate charging stations. So these guys are looking ahead, and it wouldn't surprise me that this deal was maybe in the works a while ago, and Tesla just finally decided to drop the hammer on it with the Model 3 coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting that it kind of dovetails into that other story that was put on What Drives Us about a week ago, Russell, that had the convenience stores starting to see that there is the option of disruption coming down the line for gasoline sales. Yeah,
and what am I saying? I'm talking to, I mean, come on, Mark. You must have a little insight here, huh?
Just a bit. Keeping it low key.
Well, and gas stations make more money from the customer coming in and buying chips and a Coke than selling them the tank of gas.
Quite often, yes, that's right.
But what they're saying is that as the 400,000 Teslas hit the road, as others, if the Bolt is successful, if other cars are successful, that there is going to be less people traveling and buying gas.
Yeah.
And these stations, you're right, they depend on people coming in and stopping to buy the other stuff.
Yeah.
But if they don't need to stop because they're not buying gas, they're not going to stop. They will just go buy it.
Well, and if you just built a really nice, spiffy, pretty, with pendant lighting and all sorts of stuff, convenience store, gas station, deli, fresh food market, what better place to stop for half an hour? I mean, we talked about this years ago on this show about how that's going to change that paradigm. It's not enough to have 6 pumps and a bathroom.
Right.
Well,
Although
6
it's
pumps
still a
and
ways
bathroom.
from eating gas station sushi.
Right. You've got to have the sushi, and you have to have the 3-day-old hot dogs rolling in the heater. Yes.
Or the taquitos or whatever those things are.
Right.
Yeah, they're taquitos. Sure they are. Sure they are, Paul.
Well, I'm surprised that Tesla isn't involved with the groups that are the state-run on the interstates.
Well, the travel plazas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On turnpikes. I mean, that's got to be a huge business.
Or airport parking lots. Where you're...
Yeah. Yeah, there's... I mean,
Well,
short term, right?
But didn't Tesla was talking about the basically the charger maitre d's? So
Right.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot more talk about that, has there?
there hasn't. But that would be perfect for airports
Right.
because you're going to be gone for a week. You don't need to charge your car. You don't need to
charge the day you're coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably going to be a really good story to place right next to the Tesla battery swap station.
Yeah.
That's going to sit right next to that one. Those two, they'll be buddies. not that that wasn't a fine idea. It was just
Yeah,
like almost
it's a great
clearly
idea.
like, look, Skylab. You know, I mean,
It's falling.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
yeah. It's. I mean, you know, cheers. You guys got away with it. Right on. That battery swap station in Buttonwillow, or wherever it was on the 5. You know.
Yeah.
I wonder what they actually did with that now. Does like Elon just like park an extra car there or something, or
It's a battery car wash now.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I love that they're trying stuff. I just, go bold.
And I mean, again, you know what? It's Paul makes a good point that this isn't going to actually affect things significantly for a few years, but look at what Toyota did with the hybrid and with Prius, and getting ahead of the curve. These stations that are the leaders now, these stores that are the leaders now, are they're gonna carry that. That's going to help carry them, and they're not going to have to try as hard in some other areas.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to go first are the crappy, nasty, gross little gas stations. Because nobody wants to go to them anyway. The only time you stop there is if you have to, or you've got like a lottery ticket.
With the disgusting restrooms on the outside of the building that you have to get the key
attached to a rim.
Right,
and
yeah.
the light doesn't work.
It's one of those bald tires.
Yeah.
And they're just so nasty inside.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive around a lot. We travel by car, and I've stopped in and that nasty little gas station with the aisles that are too thin, and they buy the used food from another convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, 2007? This expired 9 years ago.
It has.
But it's a Twinkie. It'll live forever.
It's good food when it has the month and the day, but the year's been scratched out.
Or they've changed it from like a 6 to an 8.
Right. Yeah. That's official Hostess pen.
Yes, exactly.
Ay. This is a fascinating topic for me because I'm into retail and I'm into marketing, and I like seeing. I think it's like the Nordstrom thing that Evan would probably just go, he'd probably be like, Sheets. I don't want to go someplace called Sheets with a Z. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You will soon, buddy. Yeah.
There was a company a long time ago that just caught all kinds of crap because they wanted to open a dedicated computer store.
Yeah.
They caught all kinds of shit. People were selling their stock left and right because their CEO was out of his freaking mind.
Gateway was nuts. That was crazy. For them to do
Yeah.
that. Those stores actually did really well for like 6 months and then cratered.
Oh, I was talking Apple.
I know.
I wasn't sure if you picked up on. Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
But Gateway was there first with their own dedicated hardware stores, and they did really well for like literally 6 months, and then, like all things Gateway, it just went,
Yeah.
It was the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
All things Gateway.
The cow boxes, I think, were a big attraction, oddly enough. It was one of those things where packaging actually worked. It was weird. Yeah. Maybe that's why I don't get more consulting work. I gotta work on it.
Package it in.
I hear Gateway's hiring you again.
Yeah. I got a resume in Dell. No way.
Well, we just lost our Gateway viewers.
Yeah. Does Dell still exist even? I mean, I don't know.
Where was Gateway? It was like in Iowa or North Dakota or somewhere.
Dell?
No, Gateway.
Oh, Gateway because of the cows. Yeah. There was
something like
Wisconsin or
I
somewhere
mean,
nowhere.
It's all built in Indonesia, but the box came from North Dakota. So they could wrap it in a lovely Midwestern sort of. Oh, we're all homey friends.
The cows.
Yeah, think of the cows. Buy our computers, please.
Highly intelligent cows.
Yeah. They're 8-year-olds chained to desks in Indonesia building our products. Please, for the love of God, buy our computers.
I'm pretty sure every Gateway still comes with AOL automatically installed.
And a free.
And they keep mailing you 3.5-inch floppy disks every week.
I remember that. Oh, yeah. Okay, enough of that. This is a rat hole. I think that's our news for this week. So we seem to get out of that pretty cleanly.
Yeah.
All in all, let's do some shout-outs and go home, gentlemen. We've worked hard. I'm going to start, Mr. Guzik, if you don't mind, with you, sir.
Sure. As usual, I will plug my own business, Boulder Hybrids, in Boulder, Colorado. Our website is boulderhc.com. And if you have a hybrid EV, come and see us, and we can fix your car. We've been fixing a lot lately. So.
BoulderHC.com. Paul Guzik is the man. That's all I'm going to say. He's the man. Okay.
It's true.
It's absolutely.
I am a man. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Well, he's the man because Toyota's tracking him all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You want to see the man that Toyota does not trust.
There is that.
Well, now that I queried Russell's VIN, they're going to be tracking him.
Yeah. Just going to say, can you? They're gonna be like, oh my God, he's parting out his press vehicle. Speaking of which, Paul, do you need a battery pack?
Yeah.
I know I can get a 4G lithium-ion battery pack dirt cheap, brother.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hear that noise, Russell? That's the helicopters getting closer.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Actually, I
literally
wouldn't
talking.
mind the 8-way adjustable driver's seat with lumbar support.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. I'm here to tell you. Yeah, and I'm talking 1,600 miles in this car. Okay. Sweet.
Cool.
Barely broken in, bro. Yeah, barely broken in.
Great. They're going to get it back with a 1996 Corolla seat.
No, what they're going to get back is a 96 Corolla. With matching VIN.
And an 8-track player in the dash.
Just make sure you find a Corolla that is Arctic Frost Pearl.
Exactly.
Golden.
I'm going to paint it Arctic Frost Pearl. And Tony, I'm going to put Paul, I'm going to put a 10-band EQ booster
That's right.
to the 6x9.
The little skinny one.
Rear deck. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of bouncing lights.
Last car Russell will ever see.
That's it. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Coughlin, why don't you take it away next, sir? Help me out here.
Yes. There's a local EV event coming up here in Hamilton, Ontario. It's called evfest.ca, and it happens in July on the 16th and 17th. So if you guys are in the area, drop by and say hello. evfest.ca.
I'm sorry, one more time. July what?
July 16th and 17th.
July 16th and 17th, evfest.ca.
Yeah.
.ca. So you know how you spell Canada?
With a C and an A, yes.
Yeah.
N-A-D-A.
Two Canadians bouncing Canadian back and forth.
Yeah.
Sitting in the
Always
middle,
fun. Always fun.
Tony Schaefer, hopeless and helpless. Tony.
Yes. So I have a couple of announcements, some shout-outs and whatnot. But so I want to start by saying make sure everyone goes to our Facebook page, and that is at facebook.com/whatdrivesus, all one word. Looking through the Facebook notifications, give some shout-outs, of course, to Philip and Linda, Ekarat, and Eric, Kelly, and Randy Mays, and the huge. But the big news, if it's news in fact, is I had been curating a magazine on Flipboard called Green Drives that was just a collection of things while I was reading stuff, things I found interesting, things I was accumulating to talk about on the show, and so I love browsing Flipboard. I just think it's a great aggregator for news articles. So I put together Green Drives. Well, decided that I would rebrand Green Drives. It is now the official What Drives Us e-zine in Flipboard. And so I'm going to give a shout out to Flipboard. If you don't already use Flipboard on your PC or on your phone or your tablet, go to flipboard.com, get an account, or download the app. And once you're there, look for the What Drives Us e-zine, and you'll be able to find the articles that we talk about on the show. And hopefully I can get more people. Right now, I know it's Evan and John and me, and I can get more people to throw more articles on the page and just accumulate stuff that's going on in the EV and hybrid. Yes, hydrogen. But, you know, and I also find other stuff that ties in. I mean, for example, we talk about, you know, getting rid of the coal-fired power plants and putting up more solar and wind and things that eventually feed into moving our transportation sector beyond oil, that kind of stuff. So if you use Flipboard, find our magazine and follow it there. And also that's where I'm going to be posting the YouTube links for the show, but if you're watching the show right now, you already have that link, but, you know, all that good stuff. So that's it. That's Facebook, Flipboard. Find us and follow us.
What drives us? Look for us. I want to shout out to Philip Barclay, whose exuberance on our page is nothing less than astounding. Thank you, Philip, for being so involved. A little cheers to Eric Torstensen, who did very rightfully point out that we buried Rolls-Royce last week, but he liked it, and he thought it was cool, and it reminded him of some fun stuff, and you know what? Right on, dude. That's, you know, that is part of the totally subjective commentary part of the show.
Too bad they won't be a sponsor anymore.
Yeah. You mean Cadillac? Yeah. Rolls-Royce. Yeah.
Rolls-Royce. We were in negotiations with them, I think.
Yeah, I was cashing those Rolls-Royce checks. Believe me, it was beautiful. I got these glasses with that money.
Just a happy place story, yes.
Yeah. But I love it when you guys, anyone interacts with us on the Facebook page. It's really cool. So do check out Tony's Flipboard, What Drives Us project, as well as the Facebook page, facebook.com/What Drives Us. Let's see. Where do I want to start this week? I got a lot of stuff here. Let me go here first. So I once again a thank you to my friends at Toyota for loaning me this mysteriously named color car. We're not really sure what it is. It's kind of a silvery green.
It looks kind of black and white gray to me.
I can't argue with that, Paul. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It does. It is monochrome in that photograph.
Is the whole county monochrome like that?
Actually, it's like the Wizard of Oz. In Florida, everything's monochrome.
That's what it is.
Yeah. We can't afford color. You got to go to Georgia for color. They got, you know, the ATL's got money for that. So my thanks to Toyota, the people at Drive Shop, and my friend Doug at Toyota, who set this up. I'm really enjoying my time with the 4th generation Prius, and look forward to talking more about it here on the show, posting about it at the other place where I'm hanging out, which is it's called Prius Owners Group, and I'm sure you've heard of that because you've probably heard me talking about it. So right there on the screen, priusownersgroup.com, I post news and commentary of interest to Prius owners. It is not, however, like the enormous, gigantic, global 600-pound gorilla, 800-pound gorilla? It's an 800-pound gorilla. That Prius Chat is. My sometime co-host, Danny Cooper, runs a little thing called priuschat.com. If you have a Prius, you can get Prius accessories there at priuschat.com/shop. That was a pretty succinct plug for my friend Mr. Cooper. As always, we want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit us at whatdrives.us. You can download, stream the show in video or audio formats there, as well as getting it through your favorite podcatcher. That's really all I got, I think, this week. I get bored sometimes running through all that stuff at the end of the show, you know? My sincere and thanks and gratitude to Paul Guzik, Tony Schaefer, and Mark Coughlin for coming on the show. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm going to give a shout out to Andrew Shaw, who will dearly miss you.
Oh. It's never too late. I mean, you know, it's not like the clock's ticking. That'll cost you $1,500, Schaefer. You know, I mean, it's okay. BoulderHC.com, at WR Voltec on Twitter. We all have little things, and if you're interested in any of it, all of this stuff is really very cool. So until next week, when you will have the unique opportunity to download our show and find out what drives us. We say goodbye. Thanks.
So long.
Hola. No, wait, that's hello.
Aloha.
Aloha, arrivederci. Buenos
Sayonara.
noches.
Hey, Mark, I can get you a sweet deal on Brian Bickle.
Auf Wiedersehen. Au revoir. Something. See ya.